Hi, I'm Jason,
And I'm Brad with BestLyfe Group.
and welcome to our newsletter podcast.
This month, we want to take a few minutes to discuss Google's new algorithm releases, how your Google My Business listings, or your GMB, will tie into those listings,
as well as how AI is going to impact your SEO strategies.
So when are these things coming out? That's kind of the first thing that everybody's talking about. Is we've heard about this for a while now. It was supposed to be then. Now it's here. What is Google saying now?
Yeah, so Google first started coming out with this in the beginning of June saying, hey, we're going to do a new rollout in July, and they're going to do a full rollout in the middle of July. These 2-week periods give small business owners that time to really understand the new search engine rules and figure out what they got to do to make the changes before they start losing their rankings.
Okay, so how often is Google doing rollouts? How often are they changing their code?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So actually, rollouts are actually not that uncommon. In fact, in 2010, Google did about one update a day. And in 2018, they did about 10 updates a day. So that's about 3,200 updates in the year of 2018. What makes this particular update a little bit different is that they're rolling out AI. And guys, what is AI anyways? Well, to put it simply, AI will be able to provide you, the user, targeted and personalized content. And it's going to allow you, the company, to create dynamic landing pages with dynamic content that will be able to grab the user's attention and keep them there more effectively without the need of an engineer or a designer to have to update the page for you. Guys, AI is going to be learning on its own.
So we know these changes are coming. So what do you need to know?
Yeah, so these are the highlights.
So the first thing that you need to understand is what a SERP is. A SERP is a search engine results page. Basically, it's what shows up on Google when you do a search. And in order to rank higher, your web page has to have certain things on it.
That's right. And the criteria for 2021 moving forward are these. You need to have good user experience. You need to have great core web vitals. Your website needs to be mobile friendly. You have to answer customer questions, but you can't just answer all questions. You have to answer questions intelligently. And you also need to provide positive rater data.
All right, well, let's start breaking these down.
Providing a positive user experience. Basically, do users like your site? Guys, you have to make sure you build a website that is dedicated to content. With Google's new search algorithm, they are now weighing whether or not the user is having a good time on your website higher than just does your website have a specific amount of keywords. You got to give users a reason to stay. You got to give them unique videos from your YouTube channel onto your website. You have to be able to interlink YouTube and Google together. You have to provide unique images. Google knows when the images are pulled from Google's images box versus when you actually take the image and put it on your website. Google's able to tell. Google now has image scanning technology that allows them to know if it is unique and is it not. And that way is different, guys. Now, one more thing I want to touch on is you got to tell them your offerings every chance you get. Brad, what do I mean by telling them your offerings every chance you get?
Well, the reality is we're all having websites. We all have websites. We all have businesses behind them. The reality is we want to make money. And showing your offerings in there, and you just have to be able to poise your offerings as to how they answer the question. If a customer says, where can I rent the best bounce house? You should answer why you're the best bounce house. And at the same time, you should show them your offerings. You should show them all of your bounce houses or water slides or whatever that page is designed by, not by doing a widget that pops up every 5 seconds, but by showing them your store, showing them the catalog, showing them different things. And that could be, going back to your previous points, have a video of somebody bouncing on your bounce house. Have a image, not from the manufacturer, but an image that you have taken on site with people enjoying it. And that's going to answer all of those other questions. You'll have a video, you'll have unique images because they're yours, you took them, and having that store there, you're able to show people, here's what I offer. So just by answering the question doesn't make you money, and we're all in business to make some money.
Excellent point, Brad. So that brings us to our next part of this, answering questions. So what do you mean by answering questions? You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure, absolutely. So understand that Google's customers are people who ask questions, who have needs, who are looking for those for answers to those. Now, Google doesn't have all of the answers. That's where we come in. That's where you provide the answers to Google. It searches your page to see if it has those answers to those questions. So you need to make sure that you design pages that can answer those questions. If somebody is looking for where do I rent the best bounce house or where do I rent the best water slide, you need to be able to answer those questions. But at the same time, don't forget that you not only should answer the questions, but understand that the customer has an underlying need. If they're asking, where can I rent a bounce house? The reality is they probably want to rent a bounce house. So this is where your offerings come back in. Answer the questions on why you're the best bounce house rental company, and then show them your offerings. Again, keep in mind that your goal with your website is to make money, but in this, at the same time, you're answering the questions that Google's customers have. Where can I rent the best bounce house? So now that you've answered their questions and showed their offerings, you need to make sure that you understand where the traffic is coming from.
That's right. Your website needs to be mobile friendly. You got to understand that more than half of all searches come from mobile devices. And for the events rental niches, more than 80% come from mobile devices. Guys, if you are not optimizing your website for mobile users, you are literally leaving more than half the money on the table. That's half of your website's potential squandered because you have not thought about making your website mobile friendly. So what can you do about it? You have to make sure that your website fits all display types. We're talking desktops, we're talking tablets, and we're talking phones. You got to make sure all these things fit. Now, luckily, some providers are able to give you all that right out of the box, but a lot of times you have to optimize them. This is where hiring a team or consulting with somebody can really come in handy because they will help you get your website up and running faster. Now, when you build your site, you must also test everything. You must test it on your desktop and you must test it on your phone. You got to make sure that everything's working smoothly. Always test, 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 test.
Jason, you say test, test, test. What are we testing for when we're testing our web pages?
Yeah, so as you guys are actually looking through your website on your desktop and on your mobile device, you guys are looking for the core web vitals. What is that actually? Web vitals are actually your website's performance, to put it simply. Here's an analogy I like to use. You have a Honda and you have a Corvette. What makes the Corvette worth more than the Honda? Well, if you talk to any car expert, they'll tell you the Corvette looks nicer. It's built with better materials and it moves faster. It moves faster. That means it has better performance. So just like people are drawn to high performance, attractive vehicles, so too are they attracted to your website. You have to make sure your website is fast. How do you do that? You got to make sure that these people are kept engaged. You keep them engaged by providing them with unique content and unique images and unique videos. Remember, content is king. Google loves unique content. You also got to make sure you compress and tag your images and have them in the right format.
So what file formats are we really looking at?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So images and videos come in different formats. For images, they come in PNGs, they come in JPEGs, and they also come in SVG file formats. This is a quick synopsis. Basically, how it goes is SVGs are great for banner images because they can pull up really large. These are for your banners or stuff like that. PNGs are really good if you want to stretch them out and give different sizes. And then you also have JPEGs, which are really good at holding data, which is good if you want to go ahead and geotag your images. You want to add extra data, and Google loves more data. The more data you can provide for your images or videos, the better it's going to rank on Google's image search portion of their site. So up until this point, your website has good performance. You have taken care of all the content. You're mobile friendly and you have high core web vitals. What's left? Your customers are left. This is where Radar data is coming into play.
Are you asking your customers to review your site? Are you asking them to review your company? Even if you're not, Google is. And they're doing that by reaching out to people that they believe have done business with your company. Ever heard of a local guide? That's where Google's gone out to a group of people that use Google for a lot of different things, and they have asked them to be part of the program to review companies. For instance, every time I go to a restaurant, as soon as Google sees that I am there, because on my Android phone, it tracks my movement and sees my map, sees that I was there, but it pops up and says, hey, Brad, how was XYZ company? And I go in and I provide a review. Google's been doing this for years behind the scenes, and they're asking people for those. Where do those reviews show up?
They show up actually in your GMB page. Now, it's important to know that every local guide is not the same. I actually just started being a level 1 local guide about a month ago when I've heard about this rollout. Brad here has been a local guide for a few years now. He's a level 9 local guide. We weigh differently in the eyes of Google, but at the same time, if we leave a review, they will impact you more than a regular customer review because we are trusted sources.
So what do you do about these things? Because if a local guide is not somebody that you know, it's the new secret shopper, really. That's the old school way of doing things. But the best things to do is just provide outstanding outstanding customer service to all of your customers. You don't know if they're a local guide. You don't know if they're not a local guide. You don't know if they're in the process of becoming one. But just sound business is provide good customer service. Do the right thing by your customers and monitor your GMB. You should reply to all reviews on your GMB, both good and bad. If somebody leaves you a negative review, you need to reply to it. Don't get into a fight with them, but you need to reply with, hey, sorry you feel that way. Let's make it right. If you have somebody that leaves you a great review, respond to it. Tell them.
Right.
As a local guide, I also get notifications when somebody replies to my review, and so does everybody else that leaves a review. I'm not special in that instance, but I take good pride in, I want to hear the feedback. If I have negative feedback with a business and I post it out, I give them a less than 5-star rating, and they reply back and want to engage in the conversation, I do. I really get involved in that. And most times it's, hey, sorry about the experience. Come back and let us make it right. If they don't reply, that's probably not a place that I'm going to visit again or do business with again.
That's right. And also remember, you can also make posts on your GMB. So remember to post your offerings on your GMB. So in conclusion, to wrap everything up, we're going to go back and talk about every point and make sure everybody understands what the new algorithm is all about. First, focus on user and the content you're providing for your users. You got to make sure that they enjoy your website from all devices.
Fast website is a good website.
You got to make sure you answer questions. Remember, customers will not call you. A lot of them prefer to do things online. Whatever questions they may have, it is your job to answer it for them, but you can't just answer it for them. You have to make sure you have good strategy behind it.
And always, always, always provide excellent customer service to not only your physical customers, but all of your customers. Again, it's good business practice, but if they are physically coming to your site and they're a local guide, chances are they're going to be prompted to give you a review.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our first episode of our podcast. If you like this and want to see many more like this, please be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. We would really appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.
Have a great one.
Peace.